Hello everybody, how you doing? How's things? How's your week? How's life? How's the universe? How's everything? Let me throw that up on there. That's up here, and say hello to you guys. Hello to Sophie, hello to Zen. How you guys doing? How's things? It's been a really interesting week. Been crazy busy in terms of launches, in terms of press calls, like Jesus. It's been mental. So yeah, how's things? Also, I have implemented some music in the background this week, as I have a noise gate on the mic, which means it cuts my audio off, but people have said that it's a little weird and disconcerting, so we have a selection of copyright-free background music that will be playing in the background. If the music is too quiet or too loud, feel free to let me know and I can adjust it on the fly. Magic of live streaming. But yeah, how's things? Managed to get an LG Flatron from 2006. Nice. Plugged it into my gaming PC because the GPU in it does not connect to the main display. Only outputs. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but nice, fair. I'm not really one for retro tech, but nice. My wallet is crying all over the console and GPU launches. Yeah, true. It's like I said, it's kind of been a crazy month for announcements, especially obviously the 3080 launch today, yesterday, that kind of thing, has been kind of mad. So yeah, it's been insane. The number of press calls that I've been on in the last like 2 weeks just skyrocketed, and I've got more tomorrow. Like, nice. They, yeah, I've heard that stock has been a little, limited. After seeing a video from yesterday, I'm selling my 1080p 141st ASUS monitor. Nice one. No worries, Moth. Thanks for stopping by anyway. Oh. Thinking of getting a Quest 2. Nice. I saw that it launched. I haven't seen too much about it. The only concern that I would have with the Quest 2 is that it's powered by Facebook, right? It's their console or their device, and they are now unable to. You are now unable to sign in with anything other than a Facebook account, or like you need a Facebook account to use the headset. So I'm a little worried at what the future holds for that, but yeah, still interesting nonetheless. Oh, Yannick, sounds like I'm in a lift. Nice. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hi, do you think I can play with a 2600 and 36 with that bottleneck? So the thing that I say is that you pretty much always have a bottleneck. There is always something that is limiting your gaming performance to a degree. The question is, how severe is it, and you know, how much would it cost to correct it, if you like. I think that playing with a 2600 and a 3070 is still going to be a very nice experience. Thank you, David. So it's not like it's going to be exactly a problem playing with it. I think it will bottleneck, especially because we've seen with the 3080 that even a 3900X technically bottlenecks, especially at lower resolution. Well, I say lower, not 4K. So yeah, it's I wouldn't say that it's overly concerning. I think you still have a very good time with it, but you can always upgrade the CPU later. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The what you call it, the 3900X was seen to be bottlenecking at even 1440p, which is kind of insane. Was this a playlist I recommended? No, because my Spotify is having a fit, so this is just music that I use for videos. Random Scott, hello. The answer is that my dad supported Rangers, but I didn't care. So, do you expect more 3080 stock over the coming days? Days, probably not. Weeks, more likely. Just because if they have manufactured a set amount for the launch, it's not like they can magically manufacture more. The only difference would be if they are holding back stock levels to be able to flood it out over time, but I kind of find that to be unlikely. So yeah. Just bought a OnePlus Nord. It's my first Android phone. What phone OS do you use? I use a OnePlus 7T Pro. So I use OnePlus's was it Oxygen OS, which was born from Cyanogen, which is born from basically just going pure Android without any of the added crap. Luke, I don't have one. I haven't had a 3080 yet. I have been told that I should be getting some at some point, but I don't have one. I don't have a video on it yet. And yeah, the question of do you have any thoughts about frame times and performance for a 3060 if they release one? So the answer is that it should be pretty compelling, especially with the value proposition that they've set up. So you know, if you follow the curve, a 3060 should be a very, very, very impressive card for a lot of people. Whether that comes out in the next 3 months or whether it comes out in the next 6 is going to be the biggest question. Which is better, 1080p high FPS or 1440p at around 80? Personally, it kind of depends on the games you play. Personally, I would probably prefer to play at 1440 at like 80 FPS rather than 1080p 144, because I like the crispness, the clarity of the image, and anything above 60 is, great. And you can always turn the settings down a little bit on 1440p, for example, by comparison to get higher FPS as well. Should I buy the 3080 instead of the 3070? It kind of depends what you want. If you want the fastest card that doesn't cost a million bajillion pounds, then yeah, go for the 3080. If you're willing to settle for around 2080 Ti performance for 2070 money, then sure, why not? Well, save a bit of money. Oh, nice one, Tom. That's awesome. Let me know what you think of it when you get it. Any idea what the market for HDMI 2.1 monitors is going to look like? Many people will want to get a nice monitor because good performance TVs are quite expensive still. So the thing with HDMI 2.1 monitors is that most high-end monitors, at least at the moment, are still sticking with DisplayPort. It is a royalty-free connection and potentially can still do a better job than HDMI does. I don't quite remember what the bandwidth and resolution frame rate differences are between whatever the newest DisplayPort is and whatever HDMI 2.1 is, but yeah, I think the TVs will eventually come down in price, as they always do. I think that's probably in a year to 2 time frame though, versus versus the monitors, which might be quicker to the mark and probably a little bit cheaper. Oh yeah, so in that case then, yeah, I think someone like Philips will probably be quite quick. They have a line of monitors called the Momentum. They're 4K, even 4K high refresh rate actually, and they tend to support HDMI as well because they tend to focus on the console market. So they might be the fairly quick to do it. They're also a panel manufacturer themselves, if I remember rightly. So again, they should be fairly quick to react to that. And the Momentum line isn't normally heinously expensive. So yeah, there. Nice one, Sean. Congrats. Oh man, Zen, that's not fantastic. Is crypto again worth? Is crypto worth it again? In the market is cooled a bit, and new cards are coming. So as far as I'm aware, the new cards are still terrible for crypto mining, especially for their price point. I don't remember how many mega hashes an RX5 like 80 will do, but I'm fairly certain that pretty much any AMD card is gonna still be faster than the new ones. Is it a better time to do it? Possibly. The only thing is that the difficulty ratings are pretty much logarithmically increasing, so you need to mine altcoins, and then if you're mining altcoins, then you run the risk of serious price fluctuations in the currency you're mining. And if you're not mining in the currency, you're mining a currency in the pool that then pays you in, say, Bitcoin, you then still have the volatility of Bitcoin, plus you have sort of losses there. So yeah, I wouldn't think so. But what do I know? Zen, you're right, it was kind of insane. I mean, that's the first race where genuinely like very involved, but also very like, I think the race at Monza was more enjoyable to watch because the underdogs were winning, I suppose. What you call it? Okay, so an RX 580's hash rate is about a third of the 3080's reported hash rate. So yeah, I'm fairly certain you can still buy 3 RX 580s for less than one 3080 though. So yeah. Jimmy James, I've not tested either of those, so I can't really tell you. Right. How much are those two? I have an 82-inch 4K 120 Hz native 240 Hz upscaled. I tried using it as a monitor for my laptop, but I got a ton of input lag. Does it have a gaming mode? And also 240 Hz upscaling sounds like a marketing gimmick. Overclocked delivers 100. Fair. I get the feeling that you probably squeeze 40 out of an RX 580, so it's still, 150 or 200 pounds or 2 or whatever. What distro should I put my old ThinkPad? Looking for something using Ubuntu, Mate, or Cinnamon Desktop. I won't be surprised if you don't have anything. I know you're a gamer. The simplest answer is Pop OS by was it System 76. That is the like one of the simplest Linux distros that are around, but has fairly fantastic compatibility across the board. Ubuntu, generally with GNOME, is what I would run if I was going to go that way, although you can use Mint with either Cinnamon or what's the other one? Mate. And Mint is quite Windows-like, so there's that too. But yeah, if I was going to run Ubuntu on an old laptop, if I was going to run Linux on an old laptop, it would probably be Ubuntu, and it'd probably be an LTS build, whatever the newest one is, 18.4, something like that. So yeah. Hello Derek, how you doing? True. Yeah, cost to parrot and space is certainly a concern, although I'm pretty sure the A3080 doesn't that draw like 300 and what do you call it, 300 and like 80 watts or something or other, so it's kind of, it translates, and you can always look at 5700 XTs or whatever. I don't know what their hash rate is. So yeah, I couldn't get over the slow response time that the OC monitor reviewed yesterday. It looks like such a good monitor. So the thing that I was talking about there is obviously the response time, or the input lag rather, is my main concern with that monitor, but the usage experience of it, as someone who uses a 1440p high refresh rate IPS display on a literally daily basis, not being able to do anything other than sit perfectly square onto it, but for it to give you any level of a good experience, was quite frustrating, I suppose, and certainly a bit of a letdown compared to even that the Acer one that you've just purchased. So yeah, I think for me personally, unless you really care about high refresh rate, in which, like I said, I'd probably go 1080p 240 Hz instead, as that's a much more refined experience. I would still go with like that Acer one, or if you want to spend that kind of money, then buy the what do you call it, Gigabyte Fi 27Q-P. Can you recommend a CPU and GPU for a $600 build? Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to look on the used market, GPU prices are just absolutely insane right now. So, yeah. CyanogenMod was a lease by OnePlus. Oxygen is OnePlus own. Yes, that's pretty much what I was saying. There's also the fork of CyanogenMod that I can't remember the name of. No worries, Luke. Hello, Spencer. How you doing, man? How's things? Been a while. I liked Ubuntu Mate on my laptop. It had a stable Ubuntu backend, switched to normal Ubuntu for compatibility. Fair. That's why I went for the Acer in the end. Also use your affiliate link for Amazon, so hopefully you get some kickback. Thank you very much, good sir. Wait for the possible 3080 Ti or buy the 3080 when it's available for 1440p 140 Hz. Honestly, the 3080 is plenty fine. I actually have a 1080 Ti and I play at 1440p 165 Hz. So I have no problem with it. And so, you know, getting 2080 Ti or more performance is fantastic, and will be plenty fine. You can always sell it on later, as the scalpers on eBay currently can attest to, for probably not that much of a loss if they do release a 3080 Ti or whatever, and you want to upgrade. So yeah, I wouldn't be too You're worried about it. Is it worth making an expensive change to 144 Hz? So it doesn't have to be overly expensive. It kind of depends on what your system is. Obviously, you're talking about a $600 total build, so it's kind of unlikely that you're gonna have a killer machine. But from that side, yeah, it's a fantastic experience. Having even 1080p 144 Hz is a really nice, very smooth, very enjoyable experience that does make games better to play. So yeah. Work-life balance is not there at the moment. My health has gone to pots. How's things your side? I hope you're doing alright. Mine is usual really. Had a bit of an interesting day today, feeling like dizzy and sick and severe headache, but what can't drugs fix for you? I think I asked it before, but what would you recommend for a 2-monitor stand that can clamp to a desk? There is a brand on Amazon called Duronic, I think it is. I purchased a set of their stands. It's a 111 that actually haven't fitted yet, but that could be a nice option for you. It's not heinously expensive. It does clamp to the desk, and I think should be fairly reasonable of a stable platform, I suppose. So yeah. Strictly speaking, 1080p 165 FPS isn't very good in something like a simulator. Not that Flight Sim can do that. True. But 1440p high refresh rate is fantastic for like racing sims. Any news on Intel 11th gen CPUs? Not that I've seen. I think we're probably a few months away, I would assume. If not, like start of next year. But that's I guess. Does that monitor ARM support an ultra wide? Do you mean ultra wide in the center and then one above, or do you mean ultra wide in the center and then another one to the side? No, at least not as far as I'm aware. I do have a laundry list of different health conditions though, that make life fun. So yeah, it's normally just that or side effects from all of the different medications. I mean, ultra monitor in general. I'm pretty sure it will depend on the weight mostly, because the one that I was looking at is a spring-loaded ARM, and that is will depend on the weight rating of the monitor, depending on whether that will sink or whether it will swim. So the thing to note, Phil, is that the laptop and desktop CPUs are almost completely different, and they normally are very different release schedules and like power differences. So the 11th gen CPUs that people like Ian Kutcher from Symantec I think we're looking at today, I expect that those are the ultra low power ones. So yeah. Hello, do you know the PNY brand? I do. I have reviewed their 2070 Super more recently than I probably should have. But yeah, it's they're fine. I have no problems recommending them. So yeah. Was the engineering sample a laptop one? Yeah, that's kind of a fair approach, Scott. It kind of depends on the games you play. Obviously, you can kind of go for the assumption of you're going for a balanced build, but if you only play a specific set of games that are definitely more optimized than for say CPUs than they are GPUs, or vice versa. Obviously, you can kind of sway your purchasing decisions based on that. Fair play, Phil. Fair play. Hey man, what's the difference between the brands of GPUs? So I've talked about this in a few different videos. The long story short is that the way that the GPU market works is that the NVIDIA makes the actual chip, and they also design a reference PCB, the board, and then they sell just the chips to the different manufacturers. So your Asuses, your Gigabytes, your MSIs, your Zotacs, your EVGAs, ENYs, all those sort of people receive those chips and then either use the standard board design, or they design their own and manufacture the board, choose what components they go onto the board, and choose the cooling, or design the cooling solutions as well. So there can be differences between, say, an Asus card and an MSI one. It's normally in terms of thermals, and because the GPUs themselves auto overclock thanks to boosting, if you have a much better thermal solution on one card versus another, you can get significantly more performance. It's kind of unlikely these days that most price points tend to be fairly level with each other, but yeah. Sam, so CS Words is right. What makes you want to upgrade from the 2070 Super that you have currently? The monitor arm brand was Duronic, Duronic, I think. They're on Amazon. And no worries, man. No worries, CS Words. I appreciate the thoughts, but I also understand the situation. So yeah, fair enough. I have only literally visually seen it rather than seen much about it, so I'm afraid I can't tell you too much. Like I said at the start, the main thing that would concern me with the Quest 2 is how deeply integrated Facebook is to the hardware and software side, I suppose. So yeah, that'd be my concern. I've seen some leaked specs on the 3070 which showed it wasn't faster than the 2080 Ti. Have you seen the numbers? I haven't. I'm not overly surprised, considering that the 3080 already was kind of close to the 2080 Ti. I think it would be so when NVIDIA said that the 3080 is 2 times faster than the 2080, they were specifically referring to Minecraft RTX and something else, Fortnite RTX, something like that, of which told you so. So when they say that it's faster than a 2080 Ti, like I said, that could be faster in one specific use case, like a specific ray traced game at a certain settings, whereas the whereas we as general consumers, gamers, would prefer to be at faster than 2080 Ti across the board. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be impressive performance, but I just don't quite think that it's the whole, picture, I suppose. Quake and Minecraft, that's the one. Yeah. Thank you, Son the Man. Your name will pop up in Lightseer in a second. Takes a few seconds to pop up. And how do I not have more subscribers? I don't know, man. I keep trying. But yeah, I'm having fun. It's my full-time job, and I'm not absolutely starving, so that's the important bit, I suppose. And yeah, having fun. If Facebook go down, go back on the promise they made when they bought Oculus. There you go. Thank you very much. How else could they do? I never trust Facebook. Not that I did to begin with. Yeah, so that's the thing, is that it's the fact that you now have to log in with a Facebook account, and how much data we know that Facebook collects, gonna be kind of weird to say that, you know, you basically have Facebook strapped to your face. Like, so yeah. And yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the OGs as well, because it's now being forced as well, as far as I'm aware. Oh wow, that's interesting, Ping Pong. PC Gamer just posted something about there being a problem in the Nvidia store today. Do you know what? I kind of believe that. Again, thank you, CS Words. It's here and it will pop up here in a minute, but thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad that everybody who joined in the drama are here and sticking around. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad that you enjoy the stuff and all that jazz. There you go. Thanks, man. There's an Nvidia store for GPUs. Why not go third party? Because people like the fancy cooler, right? Can you do a video comparing different thermal compounds we get in the UK? I see no cooling difference between Arctic and thermal grizzly. Hypothetically, I could. But in practice, I'm not sure that I have the, I suppose, testing methodology down for that. Obviously, the obvious answer is we just put some paste on the same cooler and, you know, see what the performance difference is. But yeah, I'm fairly certain that it's going to be within 1 to 2 degrees of each other, kind of thing. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about which one's which. I've got a whole load of Arctic, the blue one, whichever one that is. Not freezer, is it? No. Anyway, I've got a whole load of Arctic thermal paste that does a really good job for when I test stuff like CPU coolers. There's even like Corsair stuff that's alright, although I prefer the Arctic because it's a bit of a thicker compound. Thank you, James. No worries. It's kind of funny to be in the position of people knowing you for not being terrible, and thank you very much again, Sam. You know, it's a weird position to be in, but you know, I'm not here to mislead anyone, and like, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, how much money could someone like MSI pay me versus how much money can I make in the next 10 years of being a tech content creator, right? Like, there's pretty much no way they could pay me enough to justify, like, it just doesn't make sense at all, right? So yeah, but thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoy the videos. And yeah, for anyone who is new here, by the way, what you call it, I do these every Thursday nights at 8 PM UK time, so if you ever want to hop back on here every week. Yeah, I've heard the word bot quite a lot today, especially in you know, relation to the new launches. So yeah. Tea versus coffee. Honestly, I drink neither. I have too many problems to be, you know, dealing with caffeine addiction. So MSI have been interested in sending me stuff again. The main thing is that I was promised a retail sample of the Bravo 15, and the fact that they're actively advertising it, they're actively like doing ad spend for that laptop, frustrates me quite a lot. So hopefully I will have a retail sample where I can check if they if they have actually corrected anything that they say they had, and if they have, then I'd be more open to continuing working with them, you know, normally, I suppose. I had a team of 5 people on 8 machines, refreshing on various vendors. Everything went from coming soon to sold out. Damn, that's... yeesh. Thank you to Dante, and thank you to Ish as well. Have you seen the HyperX Quadcast? I was thinking about buying it. What do you think? I've seen about it. I haven't tested it myself. The only retort that I have, because I haven't tested it, is that the Elgato Wave 3, this shiny thing, this is actually a really very impressive mic, and has a lot of extra features that something like the HyperX one I don't think has, especially the clip guard. That's really impressive. It's basically, you can never have the audio peak, you can never have it get compressed at high volumes, so I could scream into it and it would still sound fine. So that's the impressive thing. There's also the software side of things if you want to do mixing not inside OBS, but yeah, I'm sure that it's fine, but obviously I haven't reviewed it, so I can't tell you. In the UK, within 10 seconds of 2 PM, video site was sold out and all the other sites were down. Damn, son. That's, yeesh. Why is Dominator RAM more expensive than Vengeance Pro? Because Dominator is their, like, high-end line. It's the like, Halo product. It's the fanciest LEDs, and it's the, what you call it? It's the, like, the best of the best, as Nvidia would say it. So yeah. Is the next gen Bravo going to be sitting there at your door? I hope so. Nice one, and fair play, Phil. I'll be interested to see if you actually get 2 delivered. Is there a reputable forum or sites where you can find out what the symptoms of hardware malfunctions are? I'm seeing weird things on my screen. I think it's a monitor, but I'm not sure. So off the top of my head, I don't know that I could tell you, but what sort of stuff are you seeing on screen? Complete opinion. What do you think? With more people gaining access to 4K cards, will we see 4K displays drop in price as more consumers adopt them? So the thing is that if you can go for 4K, you're probably only going for 4K 60, and if you're gonna go for, if you're willing to spend that kind of money, I would much more highly recommend the what you call it, a 1440p high refresh rate monitor instead. And so I think those are the ones that are going to be the most interesting to see how that market evolves, especially based on potentially increased demand. So yeah. I'll be honest, since the way that MSI treated you, I've avoided looking at purchasing their products, not even watching reviews of their products. Well, thank you very much. I understand, and I'm certainly still underwhelmed by the, I suppose, actions and willingness to change, I suppose. I mean, there's the obvious, like, they offered to pay me money for me to not post a review, and that's one thing that I'm honestly not very certain that they've actually addressed. They've hired a UK-based PR team, which will basically just those sorts of requests will still come from HQ, but will then they will get stopped by the UK team. So I suppose that is better, but it's not really changed anything. So yeah, I suppose that is better. But then on the other side, talking about the actual laptop itself, and the fact that they've designed like such a poor cooling system, and then defended it vehemently. So man. Do you think Nvidia opened the door for bots to strip the market? Honestly, no idea. I think this is kind of what you call it? Too early to tell, I suppose. I'm not sure what something like Nvidia would have done any differently to a normal launch, besides make a product that people are really, really excited for. So yeah, I don't know. I suppose the thing to remember is that while the cards are pretty impressive, it's not like it's the end of the world if you can't buy one today. Like, there will be some more stock in a few weeks, there will be some more stock after that, there'll be some more stock after that too. So it's not like this is, the end of the world if you don't actually get one today, kind of thing, There's a white line flashing out at the bottom of my screen, larger to the left. When it shows up, the screen tears horizontally. Is that just in games, or is that just is that in whatever you're doing? Is it a single line? You say it's larger to the left, so is it kind of tapered, or so the things that you can do are try a different cable. So I'm gonna assume you're using HDMI. So if you have another HDMI cable, then you can try swapping that out. If you have a different output from your PC, then you can try using a different output as well to make sure it's not that. But otherwise, that does kind of sound like a hardware fault with the monitor. But yeah, also try one of the monitor's other inputs if you can. If it has DisplayPort, or if it has DVI or something like that, try that instead, where possible. And if you can try it with like a laptop or whatever else, you can try it with that as well to see if it is just the monitor or not. Ish, I do actually have a Blue Yeti. I've got a Blue Yeti Nano that's on the floor behind me. True. Although I'm not entirely sure if allowing pre-orders would have actually changed anything, because they would have been made available immediately, and I assume they would only allow pre-orders for a given number of cards that they actually have stock for, and so yeah. Enjoying a £470 2080 Ti. Nice. Fair. I certainly believe that. But yeah. Hello, Essentialist. How you doing? Enjoyed your WoW road test. Not watched an e-bike video before. I'm getting depressed over my age affecting the speed I can crank my road bike up. I might consider change. Fair play. That's reasonable. I understand the pain of not being able to, you know, physically do stuff. So yeah. Uh, it was, so the thing is that the bike itself, especially with the hardware that they chose, was a little lackluster, I suppose, especially for the full price. At the discounted price, it was a lot more interesting, and the 100-mile range is legitimately impressive, even if it was more like 60 if you're, you know, pushing it quickly, I suppose. And it was a lot easier to ride, keep up the traffic, that kind of thing, with the motor. So yeah, that it's definitely an easier experience for sure. As a OnePlus fan, how do you think you may get affected by the US government seizing knockoff AirPods, which are actually OnePlus buds, and now you're in the UK? We're just wondering. So I don't think I'll be affected in any way by it. It was certainly remarkably dumb, but quite fitting for the current state. So yeah, for those who didn't see that, the American Border Patrol, or whatever it is, or Customs, seized a full shipment of OnePlus earbuds. You know, they're called OnePlus buds, and because they had a similar shaped ear tip to Apple AirPods, they seized them as counterfeits. And look how great we're doing for, you know, protecting American businesses, which, like, so yeah, it's dumb. I mean, so you can't really blame them, as they get paid minimum wage, and they look like AirPods, so they must be counterfeit. The thing is that, so they weren't labeled as AirPods, so claiming that they are counterfeit is like, they claimed that they were labeled as fake AirPods, but in their own pictures they were labeled as OnePlus buds. So yeah, and yeah, I think how politically active companies are in American politics, I wouldn't be overly surprised. But yeah. Do you think Zen 3 will come out with a new chipset? It's worth buying X570 or waiting? So we definitely won't see a new B series chipset. I suspect that we probably will see a new X series chipset. But the only difference is, as far as I can assume anyway, between X570 and X670, is potentially a more refined chipset, which means you don't need a fan, but you can already get a B550 to do that. So yeah. I want the EVJ 3090. Nice. I mean, that should be a pretty interesting card for sure. Hella expensive, but, you know, a lot of performance to go with it, so yeah. And yeah, I think, like, actually be able to buy those cards, yeah, probably late October to early November. How come, Phil? For a long-term card, as my last card was 670, 3080, or 3090. So I think the 3080 should be plenty fine for a good number of years yet. I feel like the laws of diminishing returns mean that the 30, what do you call it? The 3090 is probably more more money than the extra performance you get, kind of thing. And so yeah. Hey. Fair play, fair play. I was told the X570 would be the top through the 4000 generation. I mean, it certainly could be. The fact that we saw staggered launches between the X series and the B series platforms makes me think that when they release a new series of chips, the motherboard vendors tend to get itchy to launch a new model kind of thing. So what I'm saying is that it wouldn't surprise me if there is an X670 or whatever, although that is entirely speculation. Yeah, fair. I mean, well, I've got an X570 at the moment just because, you know, I've got 700 of them. And I also run PCI Gen 4, but for the average person, yeah, I don't see a need to move off B550 B450 right now. I run a water-cooled 1080 Ti. I don't know whether I should go with a second-hand 2080 Ti or wait for the 3080. I'm happy with what I've got, but just wonder if it is worth upgrading. I think you're like, it depends what games you're playing. Depends if you could see a performance uplift. Obviously, if you're going for 1440p higher refresh rate, it could potentially be worth it. In terms of going with second-hand 2080 Ti versus 3080, the question will be how cheap can you get a 2080 Ti? If you hunt on eBay for a good deal, anything under sort of £500, I think would be a very, very impressive deal, and I think it would be worth it. Whereas, you know, if you're looking at more like 600 or 700, then the 3080 might be a better option for you there. Should I be careful with a B550 mortar and an Noctua NHD15 and clearance on the first PCIe slot for the 3080 Gaming X, let's say? I haven't built an Noctua NHD15 in a very long time, and I also don't remember if the B550 mortar has a X1 slot or a sort of space above the first X16 slot, so yeah. Fair play, Derek. I can tell you from someone who's on the inside that most of those people don't hold on to those boards. They tend to stay with people like me until they get requested back for different projects. So it's normally quite unlikely that they have any old sample stuff. Fair play. I'm not honestly surprised. But yeah. I don't know what the spacing is like personally, I'm afraid. Those rumored A300 motherboards looked kind of sweet since Ryzen CPUs have the so Ryzen CPUs are pretty much system on chips. They don't actually need a chipset technically, and so the A300, the A320 chipset, the initial one, is what you call it, is basically not a chipset at all. Whereas obviously like the B series and X series are actually chipsets that feed the CPU properly. But yeah, certainly interesting. And yeah, that's a lot of performance for not too much money. Chris, have you thought about making more money? Liam Galahad this week. It's the that is the Galahad there. It's the 240, the twin, and that will be out possibly on Monday, possibly tomorrow, depending on if I can get the camera that's there is for testing video reflex. I finally got the driver for it, so I will be testing that literally when I finish the stream. Work never ends for me. So that'll be interesting. And so if I can get that done, I will have that video tomorrow and then the Galahad on Monday. Otherwise, it'll be the other way around. Lock, I'm a 1080p 60 FPS gamer at the moment. Is it time to upgrade to 1080p 144Hz monitor and a GPU now? So it is a fantastic time to do that, especially with the GPU market as is. Obviously, AMD is about to launch a new lineup at the end of next month. So that might be interesting. And obviously, Nvidia hasn't launched any new mid-range cards yet, but the fact that you can buy some used stuff is, you know, very, very impressive at the moment in terms of value for money. So yeah, it certainly is a good time. And the AOC 24 GTU is a phenomenal monster. The pilgrimage to Micro Centers you see on Reddit does look pretty impressive, yeah. I'm sick of dealing with online vendors. I'm going to start giving custom to local PC shops if I can find any in Glasgow. Fair. I'm afraid I can't give you many recommendations, but that's certainly not a bad idea. Thinking about upgrading my PC. Got a Ryzen 2700X and RX 580. Which is better for gaming, the 3950 or the 3900? So for gaming, you really don't need to spend the extra money. The 3900 is plenty fine. So, yeah, that. And nice one, F7. Please do. It's terrible. The killer wasn't even that bad. He just like went ape. Curry's is Curry's PC World. It's a fairly terrible like mainstream PC store. It's Best Buy. I can certainly hope so. Or you know, in terms of the AMD competition. But we've been burned on this bridge before. So yeah. Do you know F7? There might quite be, yeah. Curry's is awful. I have Novatech 30 minutes down the road. That is a much better option indeed, yeah. CCL, indeed, they're I can't remember where they are now. Forgotten. I work with Overclocks UK quite a lot, and they're fantastic. They're in Stoke-on-Trent, so Midlands. Yeah. Did you buy 3080? No. I don't tend to buy much hardware. So yeah. Fair. Makes sense. Novatech could be a 5-hour train drive. Train journey. Yorkshire, that's the one. I thought they were Midlands area. Up north, like. All his money goes into his Audi. It's far too true. In fact, actually, you can see the box of Brembo brakes that I just discs that I just fitted, and the eBay box of arms, control arms that I'm going to be swapping in that will have some nice poly bushes in. So yes, it literally does. What Audi do you have? It's an Audi S4. It's a B8.5, so 2013. And yes, Novatech is a UK store, so is Overclockers, Scan, and CCL Computers. They're all UK people. Interesting. Fair. And used to have a supercharged and turbocharged Series 6. Nice. You have a 640D M Sport Grand Coupe. We should have a race legally sometime. Nice. What sort of power does that offer? Where's all-wheel drive? The S4 does have all-wheel drive indeed. Is YouTube your only income? In terms of places that I get income, yes. In terms of YouTube ads being my only income source, hell no. Couldn't live on that, man. Yeah, that's kind of the price you pay, I suppose, Derek. Nice. Oh, AWD. As in AWIT. Right, got you. Yeah, Manchester area. And fair. So mine is 330 stock, although you can remap it to 420. Actually, speaking of it, I have a car channel as well, if you're interested. It's called At The Wheel. Where's a damn link to it? I did a review of my S4 if you want to check that out as well. And I did a video on like how to inspect used cars. So if you want to check that out, that would be... oh, I pressed save instead of thingy. God, do you think I was reasonable with computers? There you go. Are they in Stoke-on-Trent as well? God, it's been a while. Another 18 months I'm getting hindsight i30N. Nice. I have a mate who has one of those, and he really likes it, so yeah. Oh, and yes, affiliate link for Overclose UK. Thank you very much, Ish. Been thinking of getting an old Volvo 340. Since my Afro 126 way too unreliable. Nice. Fair. When's twin turbo 30 psi coming? Well, it's supercharged, so I'd have to swap it, and I don't fancy. So the thing that you can do is change the supercharger pulley, and that gets you 480. Too much. But yeah, so that's what. Oh yeah, and Box is in Sheffield as well. Actually, Box is sending me a Yamaha monitor soon. Yeah. Next car is going to be an M760 Li. Nice. That is, in fact, you and my friend Dan, who joins the streams in and again, would get on quite a lot because he also likes yachts. With that said, that's our usual hour. I need to go benchmark, so yeah. Oh, the new 2021 or 2022 M3 Touring looks awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna go benchmark Video Reflex, so I will catch you guys next week. As usual, videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so Friday, Monday, Wednesday, and if you want to kick back next week for a live stream, that's every Thursday night as well. So yeah, hope you guys have a good week. Feel free to check out the car channel if you're interested, and yeah, check out the NVIDIA Reflex video hopefully tomorrow if I can get out on time.